I felt like people wouldn't be like, oh, Stefanie really needs to quit drinking. This is so sad. I felt like people didn't know. It was all internal.
Welcome back. That was the author Stefanie Wilder-Taylor talking about struggling with years with alcohol without even realizing that she herself had a problem. In her new memoir, Drunkish, she lays it all out, the good and the bad. Stefanie, welcome to DBL. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. We're so happy to have you. Now, you've written 6 books, but this book, look, I got it there, is about leaving alcohol for good. And I wanted to ask you this. How did you think your drinking affected your previous writing?
Well, starting from my first book, which is called Sippy Cups Are Not for Chardonnay, I definitely used alcohol and my drinking as, to be funny, and it became my brand. So I thought we were all drinking and laughing about that together. And this book, I obviously took a right turn because I quit drinking almost 15 years ago. And so now I'm trying to get the humor out of my own denial at how long I had a problem.
That's great. I stopped drinking in December of 2019, so I definitely get you on that. I appreciate it, but it's thanks, guys. One of the things that I've noticed from viewers that reach out to me, and they kind of mirror your story. I think when we think about alcoholics, we think about somebody that's laying in a gutter for DUIs, or they're struggling in life. With you, and almost in my situation, you're doing pretty good. And so it's almost harder to stop because on the outside you look very successful. But I knew inside that I could do more. So I want to ask you, what was your moment where you knew that, you can coast along with drinking, but if you got rid of it, what are the bounds that you could achieve?
Well, it's so important, and your story is the same as mine. And I think for so many years it was really difficult because I was very high functioning. Yes. I was, in my estimation, still able to be a good mom and, doing all the things that I needed to do. But my problem was I didn't have an off switch. So it was very difficult to see myself as, an alcoholic. But eventually, there were nights where I woke up and I'd had a blackout and I'd been out trick-or-treating with my kids. That was my first big sign. And that was when I truly started to, moderate my drinking and go, I have a lot to lose here. But it wasn't until I made a decision to drive when I'd had too much to drink that I knew for a fact that it doesn't matter if I call it alcoholism or a substance use disorder or whatever, but I just didn't feel safe drinking.
Wow, that's honest. Thank you. Okay, talking about your writing, you were one of the first mommy bloggers in the early 2000s. How did you know people would want to read about that back then?
Well, I didn't. I had no idea. The problem for me was that becoming a mom was very isolating. It was not what I thought it was going to be. I had gone from I was a TV writer. I was at work every day. I had, coworkers and fun. And all of a sudden I was a mom. And if anybody doesn't know what it feels like to be a brand new mom, remember COVID. Remember when everybody got locked down. I couldn't go to the gym. I couldn't do anything to blow off steam. So I started this blog and, my whole thing is just being funny and unfiltered. And I didn't know better. I didn't know that other moms out there were doing the same thing I was. And when I wrote my first book, I didn't know how precious people felt about breastfeeding and loving your baby at first sight. And I had no idea. I just wrote.
Yeah, I feel that, just so you know. As a mom of 2, I feel the isolation part.
The authenticity
it's really hard.
of your story and how your brand was kind of brought to fruition, I think is so important for people to hear, because people are always trying to be like a cheaper version of someone else. And when you hear someone like you say, I didn't know, I just wrote to my own experiences, I think it's incredibly inspiring to authenticity. So I appreciate that. But being sober is a decision you have to make every day. What do you tell people who are having a hard time giving up alcohol?
Well, a lot of people do write to me. I hear from people all the time. And if you want to write to me, you're welcome to. Hit me up on Facebook or Instagram. But yeah, I tell people that it's only you can make that decision for yourself, and only you can know when it's time to quit. but I recommend that people ask for help. And even, I know it's really hard, you're not going to tell your doctor, but like tell a friend, tell your best friend, tell your mom, you know, tell somebody, tell your spouse, and just say you're struggling. And I think that is a huge step, and you're going to find that a lot more people feel the same way that you do.
You're making people feel less alone back when you were a new mom and now. So congratulations, Stefanie. What an honor to have you here. DBL Nation, pick up her book, Drunkish, a memoir of loving and leaving alcohol. Available now. Also, be sure to listen to her podcast, For Crying Out Loud. Thanks again, Stefanie. We appreciate you. Thank you.
Thanks, Stefanie.
We'll be right back.
Thank you.